So Martha kind of gave you the whole spiel at the beginning. This is our holiday because United Church of Christ, our congregational ancestors, they were the ones that began to build Plymouth Colony. Now let's think about the day that it happened. They actually started the building of Plymouth Colony on Christmas Day in the middle of a New England winter. And in 2 years, we're going to be celebrating the 400th anniversary of that happening. I've been kind of thinking about that, being that this is kind of our party. For those of you who are really creative, we need to start thinking of something really fun that we can do to celebrate that in a couple of years, because we could really do something fun with Thanksgiving in 2 years. But they did start building in the middle of winter, and it was brutal there. As Martha said, the Pilgrims had many fine qualities, but they were not pioneers. They hadn't really expected what they ran into when they got to the New World. Of the 102, and we were right, there were actually 123 people, but that was the crew, and surprisingly, the crew did not die at the same rate as the Pilgrims. But of the 102 Pilgrims that were on the boat, only 51 of them, only half, survived to see that summer. And those survivors moved into those houses that they had quickly built, and they began to plant crops as quickly as they can because they absolutely needed to have a successful crop in order to survive. And it's also true, if you know from your school lessons growing up, that they did receive agricultural help from the Wampanoag tribe that lived nearby. We only have one written record that exists from a man named Edward Winslow. And he is the only record that we have that recorded the harvest that year and the celebration of what today we call the first Thanksgiving meal in America.
Our corn did prove well, and God be praised. We had a good increase of Indian corn, and our barley indifferent good, but our peas not worth the gathering, for we feared they were too late to sow. They came up very well and blossomed, but the sun parched them in the blossom. Our harvest being gotten in, our governor sent 4 men on fowling, that so we might, after a special manner, rejoice together after we had gathered the fruit of our labors. They 4 in one day killed as much fowl as, with a little help beside, served the company almost a week. At which time, amongst our recreations, we exercised our arms, many of the Indians coming amongst us, and among the rest, their greatest king, Massasoit, with some 90 men, whom for 3 days we entertained and feasted. And they went out and killed 5 deer, which they brought to the plantation and bestowed on our governor, and upon the captain and others. And although it be not always so plentiful as it was at this time with us, yet by the goodness of God, we are so far from want that we often wish you partakers of our plenty.
In a time much earlier, the Israelites had been enslaved by the Egyptians. The story tells of Israelite children being taken from their parents in arms. In those days, being an Israelite made you less than, a member of an underclass race. But know this well. God does not put up with that stuff forever. A reckoning would come. Those whose dignity was shredded, whose lives were regarded as less than, God led them through the wilderness and brought the sea crashing down, killing the Pharaoh and his powerful army who were in pursuit. Now eventually these Israelites, they would put down roots in cities and in farms. And in every year, the Torah, the law, decreed Thanksgiving harvest celebration.
I didn't shock you. Yeah, that's right.
On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered the land's crops, you will celebrate the Lord's festival for 7 days. The first day and the 8th day are days of special rest. On the first day, you must take fruit from the majestic trees, palm branches, branches of leafy trees, and willows of the streams, and rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You will celebrate this festival to the Lord for 7 days each year. This is a permanent rule throughout the future generations. You will celebrate it in the 7th month. For 7 days you must live in huts. Every citizen of Israel must live in huts, so that your future generations will know that I made the Israelites live in huts when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
When you've suffered, when your dignity has been shredded, when you have witnessed the death of those who are most dear to you by forces beyond your control, when you have survived, the day comes where you have to celebrate. Sukkot. Do you know this holiday? Have any of you have Jewish friends where you celebrate Sukkot? Anybody? Okay, guys, you need to do this. Because one of the things about Sukkot, the Festival of Booths, it's one of my favorite biblical holidays. And what it is, it's Jewish Thanksgiving. It's a harvest festival for Jews, and they observe it every year. Now, so during Sukkot, I will go to a Jewish friend's house, their booth, and usually you build them in the backyard. It's a little tent that you build back there. And we sit. You have a glass of wine. You eat some snacks. You smell the citron. It's so relaxing. Usually it's in September. Now there was a time, just throw this out, there was the time where I went over to Rabbi Bodhi's place, and Rabbi Bodhi had a hut that was infested by oak mites, and that was not so fun. But mostly, you just hang out for a week. You go sit and you go to work in the day, and you come home and you sit in a hut with your friends, you invite people over, and you just relax every evening for an entire week. And there's a special workshop that happens on the first and the last days of it, but it is just a week of relaxing. Does this sound good? Yes. So why did Christians give up on this holiday? It's in our Bible. There's nothing particular to Judaism about it. You know, I think that the Jews know something that Christians need to consider. We need to loosen up a little bit. A Christian friend of mine likes to say, always party with the Jews, because no one parties like the Jews. And I want to be real about this because it's true. Judaism has survived impossible odds. The nation of Israel has been wiped out multiple times. Evil governments, from the Egyptians to the Nazis, have sought to wipe them out. And yet, the Jews are still here. Thank God. And I believe that the ability of Jewish survivors to celebrate, that is central to their resilience. By God's decree in the Torah, everyone needs to celebrate and remember the story of our ancestors and their survival. There is power in this. This is a human truth, and it's seen throughout the millennia. I think Christian survivors need to loosen up and to celebrate. When you survive cancer, I think that survivors of cancer we should have a huge party. You know, I'd love to see us have big cancerversary parties in our social hall downstairs when somebody hits one of those dates when they feel like they need to celebrate. Veterans, those who come home and survived war, they deserve to celebrate. That's what last weekend was about. Those who have survived sexual assault need a way of celebrating in the face of the evil that has been done. A few weeks ago, I shared the story about that bombing in the UK at the Ariana Grande concert. The helpers that came out of that community. You know what that city did a year after to the date, after the death of so many children at that horrible incident? They celebrated. The survivors celebrated. And when you say it, it almost sounds a little off. Having a party after the death of loved ones. Why celebrate? Why did the loved one that you loved so much die and not someone else? And here's the truth. There isn't some big reason. We are mortal creations. Frail children as dust, as feeble as frail. That's how the old hymn goes. No one is entitled to a certain number of days. It's not how it works. So we have to celebrate. Because surviving is just that. The Apostle Paul put it this way to the church in Ephesus.
You are saved by God's grace because of your faith. This salvation is God's gift. It's not something you possessed. It's not something you did that you can be proud of. Instead, we are God's accomplishment, created in Christ Jesus to do good things.
Salvation isn't just about life after death. Being saved is more than just survival. Because in faith, we trust that there is more goodness. There are more good things, as the scriptures say, more light, more hope that is going to break forth. Faith allows you to look at the fact that you are here now, and that is enough reason to celebrate. It's not something that you did. It's not something you can be especially proud of. But you are here. And there is more to the story. And God willing, you've got some good things yet to do with the days that you've got. So celebrate that. It is an act of faith. It is an act of power in the face of all those things that can hurt us. For survivors to celebrate that hope goes on. It gives us resilience. And even when you have done nothing to earn your salvation, in faith, you can still shout out, "We are still here." This is what our ancestors did. And it's what we need to continue to do. To celebrate, to seize a moment, a day like today, and to celebrate it. Let the powers of domination, those powers of anger, hate, and division, let them know. Let them know with resurrection hope that we are still here and that hope is alive. Remembering back to our ancestors, remembering their stories, and claiming our own stories of survival, and celebrating that in faith, hope, and love, they remain. Now there are days, I know you've felt them too, when the world can seem kind of bleak. And that's true. We do have problems. And the problems I don't know how to fix. This week, I've been with people in our church community who are at points in their life where they quite frankly have problems that I feel powerless to fix. Yet, we have a legacy. We have a legacy informed by the experience of our ancestors in faith who survived impossible odds. So when we look at what we face in our time, we can know that trusting in our legacy, we can find strength for the living of these days. We can learn the power of, no matter what we face, standing up and coming together to celebrate every moment we have because we are still here. And as long as we are here, we will have the hope to do good things, to make a difference. And that is why we as a church community celebrate today. Because we are still here. And we have hope that God has more light and more blessings to come. Amen.